What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is just 3 days away from its largest recall elections ever, which could shift power dynamics in the legislature. Dozens of ruling Democratic Progressive Party lawmakers took to the streets early Wednesday, searching for supporters to vote yes on the recall. Just a few blocks down, prominent figures from the main opposition Kuomintang were asking voters to oppose the recalls. 24 of their lawmakers have their positions at stake in Saturday's vote. Voter turnout plays a crucial role in the outcome of recall votes in Taiwan. At least 25% of eligible voters in a district must vote yes for the recall to succeed. U.S. President Donald Trump says he's reached tariff deals with the Philippines and Japan, but uncertainty over U.S. tariff policy is still affecting Wall Street, with some companies seeing steep losses in trading. John Van Trieste has more.
A warm welcome. U.S. President Donald Trump and Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. greet each other in the White House. Marcos is the first Southeast Asian leader to meet Trump since his inauguration in January. China and military cooperation are on the agenda today.
We must remember that the United States is our only treaty partner in the Philippines, and that has stood us in good stead over the years, certainly through the Second World War.
But something else has been on the minds of many world leaders these days, too. Getting the best tariff deal possible with a U.S. administration determined to put levies in place. Nearby Vietnam has a deal, and a framework agreement with neighboring Indonesia was announced on Tuesday. Now it's the Philippines' turn.
We're going to talk about trade today, and we're very close to finishing a trade deal, big trade deal actually. And we do a lot of business with you. It's a lot of income coming in for both groups.
It appears the talks had results. In a later social media post, Trump wrote, quote, "The Philippines is going to open market with the United States and zero tariffs. The Philippines will pay a 19% tariff. That's the same rate Indonesia has agreed to pay." And those aren't the only deals Trump's announced.
本日、私から対米投資額を1兆ドルという未だかつてない規模まで引き上げたいと、そのために共に取り組みたいということをお伝えをいたしました。
Trump's posted that Japan will open its markets to U.S. products like automobiles and rice and pay a 15% reciprocal tariff. This comes as Japanese media reports that Ishiba plans to resign by the end of August after trade talks with the U.S. are done. But some on Wall Street are a bit anxious, as there are still many important U.S. trade partners that don't have a deal yet, and the August 1st deadline to negotiate one is fast approaching. Though shares ended mixed Tuesday, carmaker GM announced it's taken $1 billion hit from tariffs to quarterly results, adding to shareholders' concerns over trade policy. And some analysts think that uncertainty is here to stay.
I think that the likelihood is that the August 1st deadline gets pushed back yet again. Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, has already announced that the August 12th deadline pertaining to China is going to be pushed back. And what that means is that we're going to be living with this uncertainty, in particular those sectors of the market where the tariffs really bite.
Analysts say trade negotiations take much longer than 90 days, meaning more market fluctuations may be on the horizon. Alex Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
A U.S. Air Force officer has warned the Senate that Chinese and Russian operations are undermining security in Africa and diminishing American influence in the region.
China is expanding its approach from focus on economic influence to greater military and information operations. Russia's actions are frequently destabilizing and run counter to U.S. interests. Terrorist networks continue to exploit ungoverned spaces, posing a direct threat to our safety and security.
Anderson's remarks came one day after South Africa downgraded Taiwan's representative office there. That move followed a visit by South Africa's vice president to China earlier this month. South Africa has been pressuring Taiwan to move its office out of the administrative capital Pretoria since 2024. The latest change appears consistent with Beijing's efforts to diminish Taiwan's status in Africa and elsewhere. Taiwan has only one remaining diplomatic ally in Africa, the Kingdom of Eswatini. A new show is wowing and alarming viewers by forcing them to face a scenario many would rather avoid. Set during a Chinese war with Taiwan zero-day attack paints a grim picture of the future. Our reporter Alan Liu was at the premiere.
After months of waiting, we're finally here at a Taipei cinema for the premiere of Zero-Day Attack, a show that imagined what could happen if China were to invade Taiwan. The story imagines a scenario where China blockades Taiwan during a presidential transition. The situation quickly spirals, triggering an economic meltdown and prompting the U.S. and Japan to raise their military alert levels. It's a scenario that Robert Cao, one of the show's financial backers, thinks Taiwanese people need to consider.
所以我们其实这个电影也希望说增加大家心理上的防卫韧性，就是你不慌乱然后你知道怎么办。其实以今天的情况，中共要伤害我们其实不容易。
Using Japanese and Taiwanese actors, the series explores a hot-button issue in Taiwan, tensions with China, and the threats of military conflicts. Its premiere just after Taiwan's largest military exercise and amid a sweeping recall campaign that could flip control of the legislature, seems time to spark public debate.
因为我本身是比较偏和平主义，所以我不太会觉得说一定要一边一国什么的。像之前马英九总统他上任的那个时候，我就觉得蛮和平的。
But even with many hoping for a peaceful resolution to cross-strait tensions, avoiding open conflicts will require cooperation across the straits. The show doesn't shy away from the fact that Chinese ships continue to cut Taiwan's undersea communication cables, and its air force keeps circling the country. On top of that, experts point to misinformation campaigns, espionage, and the use of influencers to shape the narrative. Some viewers say it shows them they may not have a choice.
是战争选择人，不是人选择战争的。当权者为了一个空泛的目的想要达成的时候，就是让他下面的几百万或几千万人，就是他们的性命其实完全不重要的。
But no matter where viewers stand on the future of Taiwan and China, they'll get a look at one possible worst-case scenario early next month. The show will air on August 2nd, with a rare look at Taiwan's preparedness, resilience, and what it means to live under the shadow of a conflict. Joseph Wu and Alan Liu for TaiwanPlus.
For more on zero-day attack and the realities of civilian resiliency in urban warfare, Rick Liao spoke to Liao, professor at Academia Sinica and a member of Taiwan's Whole of Society Defense Resilience Committee.
Based on what you know and what you've heard, and you mentioned you've been to some of the talks with the directors and producers of this new series, how do you think what we're going to see in this dramatized way differs from what we read about or what we see politicians talking about?
So for a long time, I think Taiwan's military strategy really focused on stop the war by the sea, right? So we're imagining a scenario where, Chinese troops will come, but it will stop by our air force and our, naval ship, right? I mean, that's definitely the ideal situation. But this series, I think it takes on a more advanced or a more even radical vision where the PLA troops, right, are landing or surrounding or quarantining Taiwan. That is, I think, a newer scenario that we need to think about, what we call urban resilience, right? That war is not only, the military's effort or business, it's actually every civilian's, right, that we're implicated in this type of invasion.
You're a member of this Whole Society Resilience Committee spearheaded by Taiwan's presidential office. You've been attending these committee meetings. I think the question a lot of us will be asking, how prepared do you think Taiwan is for war?
Yeah, this is a difficult question, right? Because when we talk about preparedness, there are many dimensions of it. So for the Whole of Society Defense Resilience Committee, it really focuses on 6 different areas, right? So including, our cybersecurity, including, our information space, our food stockpile, energy stockpile, medical resilience, but also civilian preparedness, right? So when we think about, war preparedness, it's not only about the military, right, the weapon system, right, the technical stuff. But I think the committee tries to do is that the society needs to build up a good, well-functioning communicative system, right? When war hits, we can still function as a regular society, right? That's what the resilience means. It means that when crises happen, you can bounce back to regular life. Yeah.
That was Academia Sinica professor Wen Liao. A mysterious radio broadcast heard in central Taiwan is raising eyebrows and questions. While the signal appears to originate from China, authorities are looking into whether it's a coincidence or something more calculated. Reese Ayers has the story.
Through the static, a fuzzy but unmistakably Chinese accent breaks through. It's an unusual broadcast some in central Taiwan reported hearing as they tuned in to FM 96.7. A trip to the area confirms the signal indeed exists, patchy, coming all the way from China. This is what some Taichung residents have been hearing on their radios, a Chinese state broadcast, though it's still unclear if it's deliberate or just signals drifting across the strait. The broadcast matches a stream from Fujian News Radio, located in southeast China. It doesn't appear to be tailored propaganda, but Taiwan's government isn't taking any chances. The National Communications Commission has launched an investigation and declined to comment until it's complete. On the ground in Taichung, not many people have heard the broadcast, but reactions to the news ranged from conspiracy to concern to indifference.
我觉得他是故意的。 因为现在刚好又是我们是在大罢免跟那个大成功，所以他们就故意这样子。
不需要太恐慌，应该对我们的生活不会有任何的影响。我不会恐慌。
我自己没有听过类似的东西，所以我觉得有可能只是巧合。
While some see it as nothing more than a rogue signal, experts warn elements of the broadcast suggest something beyond accidental interference.
我个人认为这一定是故意，因为从他的这个节目的内容的对象，跟他所涵盖的范围，这一定是他们有计划这样作为啊。
Given the over 200-kilometer distance from Fujian to Taichung, radio experts say it's likely the signal is being deliberately boosted or even rebroadcast from within Taiwan. Radio has long been a medium used by both Taiwan and China in psychological warfare, and this broadcast could be just the latest chapter in an ongoing battle over the airwaves.
在台湾最早的这个广播电台，除了有这个镇定宣导之外，其实也有做相对的反制的这个功能。有些频率就是对方播什么频率，我们也播什么频率来反制。这个一直都持续着。
In the 1970s, Taiwan blasted its own form of anti-communist propaganda across the strait, including notably from the Beishan Broadcasting Wall in Jinmen, a crucial Taiwanese military stronghold just kilometers off the coast of China. And even in today's high-tech world, the old analog technology still holds some strategic value. If China was to invade Taiwan, it might start by cutting its internet connection, forcing communications onto the airwaves.
很单纯，它就是 point to point。我从这个发射站到这个接收机中间不用再经过像卫星，我可能还要透过其他的一个第三方的设备，或者说我透过光纤、透过行动电话网络，不用，它其实最单纯、最直接。
福建人民广播电台新闻广播。
The true intent behind the broadcast remains unclear, pending the NCC's investigation. Whether coincidence or a subtle act of grey zone warfare, it's proof that in a region on constant alert, even a crackle on the radio can raise the alarm. Justin Wu, John Su, Aichi and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care. and see you next time.